This is Norman Kochnik here for Eyes on Cricket. We're just about to start a bit earlier than expected the Test series in. Let me get this clear. There we are. The Test series in Sri Lanka. Yes, Australia versus Sri Lanka in the first of what are, in fact, I believe, two tests between countries that have done fairly well this season. Obviously, Australia comes off the Border Gavaskar Trophy, which is what was won 3-1 by Australia. Sri Lanka's had a good year, although they did lose to South Africa recently, but they generally have done what I would call pretty well this year, and most of last year. Went close to building up to a potential World Test Championship final next time round. They're certainly rising to the occasion. They've got some good spin options now, some good middle order batsmen, some more experienced players that have come back into play. They're all there. Let me just check the volume here. Okay, there we are. Yeah, so effectively, Australia will have a much changed side. They have already decided upon some changes. Steve Smith, the captain of Australia this time round, with Pat Cummins taking lead because of the birth of his second child, which was imminent. Steve Smith will captain, and he has announced quite definitively that Travis Head, who is vice captain, will actually open the batting, probably with Usman Khawaja, which would mean Sam Constance has either been dropped down the order or dropped altogether. I wouldn't have had Labuschagne on the side. That's just me. I think the batting order will probably now have effectively a new opening pair with Khawaja and Head. Labuschagne first drop with Steve Smith captain at second drop. Now, the inclusion may well be, and there's been people who have observed the practice sessions, and it looks as though the playing 11 will include Josh Inglis. He'll make his Test debut for Australia in place of Sam Constance. So it looks like Sam Constance lost his spot. So the opening batters will be Khawaja and Head, who's vice captain. It's Labuschagne number 3, 4 Steve Smith and captain, 5 Josh Inglis, I would imagine, will be included on his debut. Then you'll get 6, it'll be Bo Webster, will probably keep his position. Now, Mitchell Marsh is not in there. Followed by Alex Carey at 7, and leaving 4 bowlers. But will those 4 bowlers be 3 spinners and 1 fast bowler? Mitchell Starc looks like he'll be 8, with no Pat Cummins, of course. Now, a combination of Nathan Lyon and Matt Kuhneman will be the 9 and 10. Now, the 11 will either be Boland, no chance for Constance, either be Boland or perhaps Todd Murphy, and that could well be the makeup of the side. That's probably the 11. We've had no confirmation as yet of that. I'm looking at, there's no inclination come through from Cricket Australia about that. They've got a good half an hour or so before they actually call the toss. But I would imagine that you'll see Khawaja will probably be opening with Head, and that will mean Constance will have to miss out, unfortunately. Yeah, that's unfortunate for sure. But yeah, well, he's young. He's 19, also 20. I think 19 still. Yeah, he's got a long, long way to go, and he's already had his opportunities and done pretty okay, really. And they're saying the Head should be the opener. I just don't know whether they need to keep shuffling the order around. Given Josh Inglis a go now, Josh Inglis could also wicket keep too, not forgetting that he is more than capable of being a keeper in this side. And I would argue that that's a very competent inclusion. And as I said, we haven't got any updates yet from Cricket Australia about the team selections. But unless it falls over, I'm pretty sure we're going to see Khawaja open the batting with Head. I'll repeat the team again for those just joining. Khawaja opening with Travis Head, Labuschagne 3, Smith captain and 4. Again, Head as vice captain at opener. 5 will be the debut of Josh Inglis with Bo Webster also having made his debut in the Test series against India, coming in at 6, where Mitch Marsh may have previously been. Alex Carey will remain at 7, with the 4 bowlers. This time round won't be Stark, Cummins, Hazelwood, and Lyon. It'll be 2 will be not there. Hazelwood's out injured. Cummins is off because of his wife's impending second birth. And that leaves Stark in there with Lyon. And the other 2 positions could well be Boland or Todd Murphy, but Kuhnemann seems to be the other definitive position in the side. So that's where we are at the moment. So that's the Australian side. I mean, a fair bit of interest in the series, I must say. You'd have to say there's a fair bit of interest. I would say, from my impressions, though, I actually say there's a lot of potential there for a distinctive change in the batting line. Josh Inglis coming in at 5, Head then moving up to open. Is that a good choice or is it not a good choice? I mean, quite frankly, I don't know. We'll see. Travis has done well in the subcontinent before as an opener. I'll give him that credit, but I don't know whether you need to play around with the order that much. Consistency is important. It'll probably be that Sam Constance could open up indefinitely as the opener when Khawaja gives it away, which means you would argue that will happen probably after the Ashes Test Series this year now, 2025, end of this year. We could well see that being the case. So let's just wait and see, shall we? I mean, I don't know. I think that it's going to be a very interesting little period here. I'm just going to try and pull up the... Let's see if I can get up the YouTube site. It's pretty clear to me that Australia really need to be pretty careful of not changing their side that much. They seem to be quite happy with there's a few players there that they're still pretty happy with. Just trying to work out what's going on here. Okay. Yeah, so we've got ourselves a... So we're on. We're live. Anyway, I think I should be careful not to have volume on there. So it's working. It's all good. I just need to just update the actual the way that this is coming out live. It should let me go in there, but it's not, unfortunately. It's live. Why is it not showing? I got copyright against them. I don't know what the stupid song collections can't be a reason to be copyrighted. Anyway, it's rather... We need to be able to come in there and just... Yeah, we need to be able to allow things to take place here. All right, so the Australian team, yet again, for those that are joining us now, Travis Head has moved, after Steve Smith's press conference, has moved up to opener. He will open the batting as vice captain with Usman Khawaja. Labuschagne at 3, Smith at 4. Josh Inglis is likely to be at 5. It won't be Sam Constance. And then we will go to 6 with Bo Webster as a bowling option. Carey as the keeper. Then the 4 bowlers will be obviously Stark. No Hazelwood, no Cummins. Hazelwood injured. Cummins still, or he's awaiting the birth of his second child. So they're both out. So there'll only be 2 replacements. There'll be Lyon and Stark. So that they take up 8 and 9. And 10, 11 will be probably Matthew Kuhnemann and either Todd Murphy or Scott Boland, depending on how they see the pitch. If the pitch is a spinning wicket, which Galle can notoriously be a spinning wicket, you may well see Todd Murphy going in as the 3rd spinner. Yes, that's the update that we're seeing. Yeah, I need to just make sure that I really would prefer to be able to get in there and sort that out, but I can't All right. Yeah, so there you go. That's what's transpiring at the moment. We're going to have to just wait on. Yeah, we need to be able to make sure that Australia get some stability in their side. I mean, they're in the World Test Championship, which will be held middle of this year, and we'll be versing South Africa. South Africa will be the team they will play against. Um, you'd think Australia should win and win easily. It should have been India in there as opposed to South Africa. I would think they're the second best team in the overall World Test Championship at the moment. South Africa haven't played either Australia and India in the last cycles, and probably would have been beaten by both. So South Africa got there by some weird default, and I'm not really a big fan of that at all, to be honest. So effectively, South Africa will play Australia in the World Test Championship. That'll be down the track. I don't think Travis Head will open in that game. I think he'll drop back down. We may see Inglis might revert to opener as well. Inglis is an opener. He can bat as an opener. So very peculiar. You've got Josh Inglis coming to the side at 5 when he probably could open. And so is Travis Head going to go back down later? We don't know. I would assume that he will. And Kalarja's days are numbered, I would say. This time next year, he won't be in the team. And Sam Constance will get his chance. Nathan McSweeney is another selection that may have been thought of for this test. If McSweeney gets a go in front of Josh Inglis, there's something wrong there because McSweeney has been dropped. And I would argue that Smith would have preferred to give Josh Inglis a go. He's been floating around the squad for quite some time with a very strong batting average, 7 centuries, usually an opening or upper order batsman. I would have put him in there, to be honest with you, as well. I think you may well see Josh Inglis open the batting with Sam Constance in the long run. Kalarja, Smith, obviously Head, McSweeney somewhere in the mix. Bo Webster somewhere in the mix with Cam Green when he comes back. Mitch Marsh seems to be now on the outer. Alex Carey could easily not be on the side too and leave Josh Inglis to keep. That'll be interesting. You could actually see a day where Constance and I would argue even McSweeney somewhere in there, but not as an opener. But you may well see Josh Inglis be not only that batter, but also a keeper. It's an option they have got. Alex Carey is fairly sound with his keeping. Batting has had its moments. Batting has certainly had its moments. So Alex Carey would feel a bit of pressure with Josh Inglis around. Boland's an automatic choice if Australia bowl with more than one pace bowler, because Cummins is not there and Hazelwood's not there. You would think Boland would be the choice. Is it Jai Richardson still in the? I think he also Sean Abbott. Sean Abbott's been there or thereabouts. He's been in the one day and T20 world as far as bowling is concerned, but I don't think I would be selecting him in any hurry in the Australian side, the Australian Test side. That is, I just don't think he's up to that standard, to be honest. Sound bowler, but whether he's an opening bowler to play for a Test match, no, I don't know. So we've got another 15 or so minutes before we actually have a chance to, have a chance to actually judge what's going on. So I'm just gonna go through there and have a look. Let's have a look here. And it's there now. I wonder if I can edit anything on there. Yes. All right. So let's just see what happens. I would like to be able to go in there and sort that out, and I can't at the moment. So let's see what happens there. So all right. Okay. So again, the Australian team at this point in time is it's my underpants, so we can't see my underpants. All right. Australia. The batting lineup will probably be Travis Head as vice captain of Australia, opening the batting with Usman Khawaja. Number 3 will be likely Marnus Labuschagne, and 4 will probably be obviously Steve Smith as the captain of the side in place of Pat Cummins, who is eagerly awaiting the birth of his second child there in Waverley, there at his lovely location in Sydney near Waverley Cemetery near me. 5 will be the debut of Josh Inglis. Keeper, upper order batsman batting at 5. I think he should be batting higher. could well be their future opener as well. 6, Bo Webster proved himself in the last test against India. He's keeping his position ahead of Mitch Marsh. Cam Green's going to eventually come back at some stage. Alex Carey keeps his keeping position. Stark will stay in the side. No Cummins, of course, as I just described earlier. Hazelwood's still out for injury. Boland's in the mix. Boland/Todd Murphy, one of those two will get a go. Nathan Lyon will be automatic selection. Nathan Lyon, of course, has played a number of test matches now. He played his very first test match of his career at Galle International Stadium. Took the wicket off, if I can recall correctly, it was Sangakkara. I think it was Sangakkara. And he got him caught by Michael Clarke at first slip. First ball in test cricket. Nathan Lyon bowls, he's off spinner, gets Sangakkara playing a drive and nicks it wide to first slip, and that's how he got his very first test wicket at Galle. So it'll be fond memories for Nathan Lyon. Now he's got some 500 plus wickets. He's clearly in a position now where experience will show how he can play. But he will be accompanied by Matthew Kuhnemann with his left arm, and I would argue they may even go with Todd Murphy or Scott Boland, but Stark will be there as well. Obviously, Bo Webster can take a few overs in his role, which will become more important. Travis Head's even still floating around there. Labuschagne, let's not talk about his bowling, please. I do not want to see him bowling to anyone. If they are, then there's a test match desperately trying to be lost, I think. Okay, so I wonder if I can edit that. I don't think I can. It's not letting me do that. All right, so the Australian team, yet again, is not far from being selected, but we're at 3 o'clock. It'll be on the reports. My storage is full. It annoys me. Just trying to get that up. I might get my iPad out as well. It might let me do some more fiddling. But yeah, but the match will certainly be a great interest. It's always, any test series beginning is always of interest. Australia generally start off quite solidly. They're in Sri Lanka. It's an even playing field for Sri Lanka when they're at home. I would say that the chances of Sri Lanka have improved because it's at home. They have not beaten Australia away from home. They've not beaten Australia in Australia. They've certainly beaten Australia in a ODI World Cup back in 1996. They beat Australia quite convincingly with the likes of Arjun Ranasungha in the team and won that 96 World Cup. And that was actually where was that? It was in Pakistan, if I can remember correctly. Lahore, I think it was where it was. Quite impressive indeed. So yeah, let's just wait and see, shall we? All right, I'm gonna be very soon able to tell you what's going on regarding the selections. We've got some 10 minutes or so before the toss. Australia yet again, for those just joining us, we're likely to see the debutant Josh Inglis, who's been around the world, of course. He even captains the short format for Australia. So he's been captaining the short format, hasn't got a test Guernsey yet, and probably overdue, I would argue. He's certainly got the maturity to be there and can be a keeper. If he goes in the Australian side, not only will he be a top order batsman, he could go into keeping as well and become a pivotal part of the leadership role very, very quickly, as he's already done with his short format of cricket. So okay, we're not seeing anything happening there. They interviewed both Travis Head and Smith already, so we'll wait and see what goes on. Smith has already made it very, very clear that he's going to have Travis Head opening the batting as vice captain of the Australian side. Opening with Khawaja, who does like the subcontinent. Well, he's improved his subcontinent play and deserves still to be there. Sam Constance. Well, I'd be rather shocked if Khawaja's actually dropped and Constance is left. That could be a possibility. I don't think so. I think Smith made it pretty clear that he's going to have both Head and Khawaja open with Labuschagne 3 and Steve Smith himself as 4. the debutant in waiting is Josh Inglis, with, of course, then followed by Bo Webster, who only debuted in his last match, I believe. And Alex Carey, well, he's there as the keeper. That's the top 7. Stark and Lyon pick themselves. That's 8, 9, 10, 11 will be a combination of either Boland or Todd Murphy, and the other spot, number 11, will probably be Matt Kuhneman, based on his injury, whether in fact, I think wrist or finger, I'm not sure what injury he had, but he was suitably recovered, and that's a good sign. So we've got 9 minutes before the toss, and coverage starts as well. Yeah, and only some 9 minutes. Sri Lanka, they're calling it Sri Lanka versus in Australia, of course, because it's in Sri Lanka, in Galle International Stadium, which is Mahinda Rajapaksa Stadium. Actually, it's named. I don't know whether they've lost that name because he's no longer leader, but it was called that as well. Mahinda Rajapaksa Stadium, the former leader of the country. He's no longer leader, though, of course. So that was down Galle, which is on the southwestern coast of Sri Lanka. Of course, you go from Colombo down to Galle. It's only a few hours down the track. Beautiful location. Unfortunately, it was hit very heavily by the tsunami back in the day. 2000, it's probably about 20 years now since that happened. What was the year of the tsunami? Let me just check on that. I think pretty sure it was 2005. Let's have a look. It's been either 20 years or coming up to 20 years, which was a horrible event. I mean, I have a lot to do with Sri Lanka. I was previously married to a Sri Lankan lady for some 15, looks like it was 2004. So it happened on the 26th of December 2004. So it was 20 years, in fact, 20 years and a month. Total casualties, some 227,898 people. The depths were 30 kilometres, 19 metres. Wow. What famous person died? Reggie White, 43, American football player. So I didn't realise that. Jane Attenborough, at the age of 49, British arts administrator, daughter of actor Richard Attenborough. Yes, that's sad. So some 230,000 people died. So after the tsunami claimed the lives of over 8,000 people in Thailand specifically, and it looks as though some 400 bodies are still not recovered, which is sad. What was it? Well, they're still saying that the Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami, which we knew that hit a number of countries. Australia is playing against which team? Australia is playing against Sri Lanka, actually. So they're playing against Sri Lanka, in Sri Lanka, at Galle, with a test team pretty much announced. Not quite yet, but pretty much announced. Okay, so we're going to wait and see what happens there, but it looks as though there's no change to that. It looks pretty certain that we're going to see a, I don't know, my account seems always to be full to stop that. All right, so we've only got a few minutes to go. And how long is it now? It's about 5 minutes before the official broadcast. The game starts in 35 minutes. The Australian team effectively will be, as I mentioned earlier, Travis Head was likely to open with Kawaja. 3 is Labuschagne, 4 is Smith, Josh Inglis to debut at 5, 6 Bo Webster had the debut the last series against India at the Border Gavaskar Trophy, then Carey at 7, and then 8 and 9, in whatever order, will be Stark and Lyon. 10, 11, well, it's going to be probably Matthew Kuhneman to take up one of the 2 spots. And the last spot will be between Todd Murphy and Boland. That's probably the 2 they're tossing. Okay. The live broadcast has returned. I'm going to have to wait. I'm probably not going to be able to keep my power on, which is sad. So, guys, I might have to finish off there very shortly. Unfortunately, we had an interruption there with power. So I'm very sorry about that. and I'm sure the power's not going to last very long. I'm going to have to make sure that we just allow that to dry. Yeah, so at this point, the team seems to be very clearly Travis Head with, in fact, yes, we're just saying Josh Inglis get his cap. Josh Inglis is getting his Australian cap. He's definitely debuting today. And that basically tells you that Josh Inglis will debut in place of Sam Constance. Constance will be out of the team, and Josh Inglis will be batting number 5. And it looks pretty clear that he's got himself a position there in the Australian team. So that's pretty. Let's see what they're saying about that.
Ricky Ponting, Greg Blewett joined me. A debutant. We've had a couple this summer, haven't we?
We certainly have, yeah. Bo Webster in Sydney just a few weeks ago, and obviously Nathan McSweeney at the start of the summer. So it's a career highlight for anyone.
So there we have it. Ricky Ponting's just mentioning McSweeney was put in the side as a debutant. Bo Webster, obviously Sam Constance. Now we've got Josh Inglis. So it's the 4th debutant of recent times. The previous debutants, of course, were, as I said, McSweeney, Constance, Bo Webster, and now Josh Inglis.
And it's a very, very special moment. So he's played a lot of cricket.
So there we go. The Australian team will be Inglis in for Constance. So the batting order will be, without any doubt, Khawaja with Head, Labuschagne, Smith, Inglis. Inglis will go in at 5. 6 will be Bo Webster. 7 will be Alex Carey. And we'll look at Lyon and Stark in as 8 and 9. 10, Matt Kuhnemann.
I don't like it, to be honest. No, I mean, I've done a few interviews during the week.
Matt Kuhnemann will be in place of, as well, Boland or Todd Murphy. That's the team. All right, guys, we'll just wait and see how we go with that. We're going to lose power any minute now, guys. I'm afraid. We haven't got much to do here. It's water detecting the system. I don't know what the story is there. Let's just see if this allows me to.
Missed opportunity for the Australians here to get to learn a bit more about Sam.